have to watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock. I don't even have to watch a clock.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for listening to the Bold Moves podcast. My name is Mandy Bryson. I am the host, and I'm excited to share with you episode number 337. Today, I'm sharing my interview with Marie Claire Cates, whose story is completely incredible. She moved to the United States at 16 while pregnant and not knowing English very well. She then got a corporate job, put herself through university, and decided that there was something more for her in the beauty industry. She then became an esthetician, developed her own skincare line, and is now doing $80,000 a month in sales while living in Beverly Hills. If that's not the American dream, in my opinion, I don't know what is. Obviously, Marie Claire tells her story better than I can, so stay tuned for my chat with Marie Claire Cates. Hello, everyone. Today I am chatting with the gorgeous Marie Claire Cates. Welcome to the show, Marie Claire.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited too. Thank you for joining me. So of course you know that the show is called Bold Moves, and you wouldn't be sitting there talking to me if you hadn't made some. So I would love if you shared a little bit about you and your story and some of the risks that you've taken along the way.
Well, I'll try to make the short story short, but I'm originally from Haiti, so I came to the United States when I was 16. I spoke no English, and I was pregnant as well.
Oh my goodness.
And talk about challenge. And so I had my son, and he ended up being diagnosed with autism and epilepsy. So that was quite the challenge there. And then I went to school at night, so because I needed to finish high school, and then talk about the guilt and the shame that comes with, being sent here from a small country before having a kid and having to learn English, and then having to prove your worthiness, So I've always made moves that I would say that the guilt and the shame helped me make moves that would really prove that I was worthy, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I put myself through university, ended up in corporate America, and my background was in human resources.
Okay.
While I was in human resources, I just felt like there was something more for me to do. I was never satisfied being there. So, and I felt that my calling was going to be in beauty. So after being in corporate for 20 years, and also I have to say my son was always sick, having seizures, and I was at fear, like I'm probably going to lose my job one day because calling in sick all the time and having to be at the hospital. And I wanted to have much freedom. I just felt like there's something else for me to do. So I was always interested in beauty and fashion. So I thought it was going to be makeup. So I ended up working for MAC, like going from corporate human resources and working for MAC Cosmetics. In those days, it was such a big deal to work there.
Right.
And but I made no money. I couldn't support myself with what I was making and stuff like that. So I decided to skin for a chance, only because I was into skincare. I used to break out myself. And by that time, I went back to corporate because I needed a paycheck. And then went to school to become an esthetician. And then I would work on the weekend for spas. I had a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And then one day I said, I just have to make the move, and decided to quit corporate. And I remember walking into my boss's office February 9th, 2010, and I handed my letter of resignation, and I started to work from home. And I didn't know. I mean, I knew it was going to work because I just felt like I needed to do it or I was going to regret it.
Sure.
So I made the move to work from home and leave the secured paycheck and the 401k and all of that to work for myself. And I'll tell you, best decision I've ever made.
Yes, I love that.
Yes, yes. And then that transpired, and now, I moved my office to Beverly Hills. I launched a skincare company and a skincare line, and we ship worldwide. And we're bringing in 80K in sales per month. So it's
Wow.
quite the journey. Yes. But if I didn't quit my corporate job, I wouldn't be here.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations, first of all,
Thank you.
because that's all super impressive. I feel like if you isolated even just one of those or all of them separately, that would be, they'd be amazing on their own. But then to have them all kind of
Yeah.
being on top of each other, that's even more impressive.
Yes, absolutely.
So, how old is your son now?
My son is now 31.
Oh
He's
my
a big
goodness.
man. He is 31. He's doing well. He lives in a group home. He's been great. He's doing great. And seizures are far less, so we're happy about that.
Oh,
They're
that's
fewer.
great
Yeah.
news. Well,
Yes.
obviously you have a skincare background because I'm doing the math here and looking at you and you said 16, he's 31, that makes you
Yeah,
47,
49. No,
49.
well, I'll be 49 this year in August. I'm a Leo, but I'll be 49 this year. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you look like you're about 22, so
Oh,
good
you're
job.
so kind. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just being honest. You look incredible.
Thank
So
you.
I always bring parallels whenever I find them with my guests. And one thing that we have in common is the beauty industry. And I am a makeup artist. And it's so funny because when I first got started, I was so into like the color and creativity part. And I don't know if it's some of it's aging or just experience working with skin and knowing so much how much easier it is to do great makeup when the person's skin is well taken care
Yes.
of. But I feel like now I'm like, okay, the whole makeup part's boring. I want to do skin because it's like, all right, both of us have pretty natural makeup looks and then a bright lip.
Yeah,
If you have nice
exactly.
skin, that's all you need to do. It's so much easier.
Much easier. This is my signature. If you throw on a nice bright lip and you have nice skin, oh my, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a big advocate in, skincare, taking care of your skin and yes, all you'll need is a nice lip for makeup.
Yeah, you look so pulled
Yeah.
together with minimal
Yeah.
effort.
Minimal effort. Exactly. Exactly.
Except
Yeah.
for, of course, the effort to maintaining the good skin. So I would love to hear for anybody who's listening that is not a skincare enthusiast, what tips you have for people to get started, especially, now that we're all kind of quarantined away. That could be
Yes.
a good time to really give your skin the attention it deserves, especially
Yeah,
if
for
you're not
some
wearing makeup most of the
self-care.
time. Yeah, exactly. So what
Exactly.
tips do you
I
have?
always start with diet. So I always
Yes.
say you are what you eat. So I'm a big believer in drinking water as you're taking your sip right now. I drink water. I always add lime to it, lime juice. So to
Okay.
help flush out the liver. So huge. Drink water, eat as clean as possible and organic.
Hmm.
And eliminate sugar if you can, or lessen your consumption of sugar.
Sure.
So that's my tip there with the diet. And then as far as skincare, there are three major products that I think everyone should be using. So it's an antioxidant, like a vitamin C serum,
Hmm.
to help fight free radical. It's great. Everyone should be using that.
Okay.
And also a retinol to help speed cell turnover at night. So
Hmm.
you wear that at night. It helps to retexture and refine the skin. It's great for fine lines and wrinkles. I love that. So we should all be using that. In sunscreen. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We should all be wearing sunscreen daily. So those are my top three.
All right. And if anybody is looking at you, you're definitely somebody to take skincare advice from because I know I already said it, but you look amazing. So,
Thank you.
absolutely. So, with your place in Beverly Hills, is it primarily retail or are you still offering skin services? Obviously, aside from like in normal times, not quarantine times.
Yes, exactly. So at Work Skincare Studio, I only see acne clients.
Okay.
So that's the office portion, and then we have the online store. We sell products. So it's mainly those two avenues. But I would say my bread and butter is the retail portion, the online sale. So this is where, because I couldn't do enough facials to bring in
Sure.
8K a month.
Right.
But
Even around the clock, unless you're charging a lot.
exactly. exactly. So I still see clients that stayed with me way back then,
Yeah.
and I get to see them. I don't go in, yeah, I go in about once a week, but
Okay.
I still get to see them. But eventually there'll be someone, that replaces me. But for
Sure.
now, I still go in. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have other estheticians working for you more often than once a week so that you're open daily, or is it just the once
Yeah,
a week?
that's what I was saying,
Oh,
because the online business just took over and then we're doing well. So
yeah.
the bulk of my time is dedicated to growing that, to growing
Okay.
the skincare company. And then so this year, well, actually, I just hired someone and then, COVID-19 happened and we had to put everything on hold. But definitely, yes, I will keep the office open and still see clients. So eventually someone else will be doing the services for my clients.
Sure. Okay. And you
Yeah.
said you only see acne clients specifically. What made you target that niche for your services?
Yes. So I am acne prone. I
Hmm.
know you can't tell, but
No.
I am acne prone, and brother is too. So it's genetic. My father used to break out, and I used to just try. I would try to figure out why I was breaking out so much. I've name it. I've tried it.
Yeah.
Every type of skincare. So I went into it with that eagerness to figure out how I could cure myself. And
Okay.
then eventually, when I finished skincare school, I was offering all kinds of services. I find myself really attracted to acne.
Okay.
And I heard this from an entrepreneur once. It says, you got to niche it, niche it, niche it. So
Yeah.
acne became the niche. And once I did that, my business changed drastically as far as seeing clients, because now I was known for that one thing.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So, and then that's what I'm known for, even on Instagram, Acne Expert. Even though we sell products for anti-aging and all that, but
Hmm.
you know me for the one thing, which is acne.
Okay. And then
Yeah,
tell
it's
me,
my passion.
I love that. Tell me a bit about the trajectory from, skincare school and being an esthetician into developing your own line. How did that happen for you? How much time did it take? Where did you get the idea to do it? I'm curious about
Yes,
how that went.
that is a great question. Well, from skincare school and working for a spa and dermatologist, learn a lot about ingredients and how they affect the skin. I
Hmm.
took classes and I realized, and then eventually I was working for myself, and I realized that the products that I was selling to my clients
Hmm.
were not really targeting acne. And in fact,
Okay.
sometimes it will worsen the acne. And once I knew I had the knowledge of like, well, if you're using this, it should have these ingredients in it.
Right.
I said, you know what? I think I'm going to just come up with my skincare line. Then it sounded scary because I'm like, how am I going to do this? Money, who? So, and then thank God for mindset and reading books and staying, grounded. I just one day at a time, Google was my best friend. So I
Sure.
started to go how to find a manufacturer and eventually found one and a chemist. And it took from the time I thought about
Hmm.
it took 2 years
Okay.
to become really to see it in front of me. So
Yeah.
that took 2 years. And I started with 3 SKUs, 3 products, and now we have 32.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it just grew and grew every year. And we added as the demand. So my clients will clear their acne and say, well, now I have post acne scar. How do we address that? I'm like, oh, we need to address that. So
Yeah.
let's add products to that. And okay, I'm now 35. What about anti-aging? We'd add anti-aging to the line. So we grew organically over the years. So that's how it all started.
That's super cool. So, like
Yeah.
I said, your bold moves are things that all on their own are huge things. Moving to a new country, becoming pregnant as a teenager, having a child with special needs. I'm curious of all of these different things. And then, of course, leaving a corporate job, starting a new
Yes.
career, all of that. What is the scariest thing that you have experienced so far in your life?
Oh, Scariest thing. Oh my God. You know what? I wouldn't say they were scary. Well, maybe they were because I'm such a person of faith. This
Yeah.
is why I have to think about it. Because my faith has carried me through all these challenges that I've listed, right?
Hmm.
So having faith has really helped me to just hang in there and then welcoming the challenges. So I remember when I decided I was going to walk into the office and turn in my resignation, I didn't
Yeah.
have anything else to fall back on, right?
Right.
And at that time, I was in a relationship. We actually lived together, and I decided to end that relationship because I knew we were not going to go anywhere. He wasn't the person for me.
Hmm.
And then, so to go from there and not having a paycheck and figure out how am I going to pay the rent? I have a new business and all that. But I just knew that this is what I needed to do. So
Hmm.
I was gonna have to stay the course because I knew I was gonna regret if I didn't do it. So just doing that and just hanging in there, eating
Yeah.
top ramen noodles and tuna and just keeping the faith. I think even the corporate job, that was one of the boldest move I've ever made because I had a great salary.
Yeah.
So just to leave that security and say I'm just gonna stick to an A and not have a plan B. You grow up and your parents say you gotta have a plan A and a plan B. You gotta follow your head and you gotta have a plan and all of that. So I had to really listen to my instinct and follow my intuition, and it has served me right. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. And I love that you shared, some of the lows because I think most people don't aspire to top ramen and tuna, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And that
You
wasn't
gotta
part
do
of
it.
your diet recommendation when you were
No,
saying
it
it
was
comes from,
not. But
but
but you just, and I was happy doing it for some reason. I don't know what it was, Mindy, but I'm telling it was my faith. I just
yeah.
knew. I was like, this is gonna work. It's gonna have to work. So I had passion. And I always say when you get inspiration from a higher power, whatever your belief may be, um, there's something else that happens with that inspiration. It just gives you courage to
Yeah.
just keep pushing. And that's what I had. I just had that courage. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think too, when you're following your true passion and your purpose, you're able to do a lot of things that would be terrible if it was not in line with your purpose. Like if you
That is
had
correct.
to eat that stuff and work extra hard and not have the security and you're doing it for somebody else's dream, it's unbearable. But
Totally.
when it's
Totally.
for what you want,
Yes, I would be on the computer until 4 o'clock in the morning, get 2 hours of, and wake up the next day feeling refreshed because the passion and the inspiration, they kept you going. When you have something that you're inspired to do,
yeah,
it's like you don't know time, you don't think about food, you don't think about none of it. All
right.
you thought is that one thing, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I'm curious when you were leaving that corporate job, because one of my friends, I like the less concrete fun stuff. And my friends always like, well, did they save up 6 months of expenses? So I'm curious logistically, since you did have a good salary for a while, did
Yes.
you kind of set yourself up so that you didn't have to make a ton of money right away? Or how did that work
Right.
for you?
So thank God I had a 401k. So they always say, well, don't cash in your 401k, don't cash it out. I had to. And
Yeah,
I'm so glad I did. This is the one time where it worked because you hear all of the advice. You're not supposed to, but I had to because I needed to survive and I had to live on a budget. But also, um, um making it to where it's like, oh my God, I just got to stick to this plan and can't I spend this on manicure. You gotta feel good. So it wasn't as strict as I was gonna live under a rock, but I was still allowing myself to feel good. Exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, 401k, and eventually it ran out, but thank God I was making enough to support myself. So, yeah, so think I did.
Okay, cool.
Thank God I did. Yeah.
So I'm curious too, because you mentioned that like the scariest thing was, handing in your resignation and doing that, just going for this business. But I want to hear a little bit more about coming to the United States, 16 years old, pregnant, and not speaking the language. Can you tell me a little more background about that?
Well, so as I said, I grew up in Haiti, Catholic family. Um, Parents, they were known in our community. And we were very sheltered. Like growing up, it's like I went to a Catholic girls' school, didn't talk about, we didn't have any sex education. The school was, it was all run by nuns and all of that.
Okay.
And so I got pregnant at 16, like literally, my life changed overnight. So realizing that I was pregnant, I was so afraid to tell my mother because I knew, I was like, she's going to kill me. I'd rather just die.
Oh my
And
goodness.
oh my God. And didn't tell her for 5 months. She didn't for 5 months that I was pregnant. I was going to school, getting great grades. I was stressed to death. This was my first boyfriend, and we were just in panic, didn't know what I was going to do, what we were going to do.
Sure.
And then I was so thin that you couldn't tell that I was pregnant. And then finally, one day I had to tell my mom. I think she just realized, like, something is off here.
Sure.
And she lost it, basically.
Okay.
She lost it. We'll just leave it there. And she was like, God, there is going to be so much shame. We can't tell anyone. So basically, she sent me here to America. We didn't tell anyone. Not even my father knew because at the time I got pregnant, they had separated. She didn't even
Okay.
tell my dad. And my bag and sent me here, brand new place,
By
new
yourself?
environment, new country, by myself.
Oh
But
my gosh.
she had two cousins lived in California, so I moved in with them.
Okay.
And I stayed with them for 3 months, and then after that I had to like find a roommate, moved in with a distant cousin. But basically I had to learn the language, and I watched all my children while visiting my son during the day and going to school at night, and that's how I learned to speak English.
From a
And it
soap
was
opera?
scary. From a soap opera, all my children. Oh
Amazing.
my God, yes. And yeah, and growing up, English was my favorite subject in high school. And I thought I was getting A's, and I thought, oh, I know
I
English.
know
I love it. And you come here and people are fluent, and it is the scariest thing ever. And still today, I still think English is my favorite language, but I try to deal with it. But scariest thing ever to try to express yourself in you can the words,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
still happens to me times.
I taught at a language immersion school, and
Mhm.
you don't know what you don't know until you have to figure that out. Like
Exactly.
I spoke French and like studied it for 10 years, and then my first day of teaching, I'm like, I have never had to talk about a stapler. And I don't know what a staple, like I had to ask the kids. I'm like, I don't know how to say this.
That
So
is funny. Yeah, that's
that
exactly how I felt.
you
People
just get
just stare
thrown
at
in.
people's mouths. Yeah, you just get thrown in, and I'm saying, slow, please. And
And
then
then
try and figure it
slang.
out. Oh my God, absolutely. And then realize people have so much compassion when they know, like, oh, this is not your language, and I'm going to
Yeah.
be patient with you. So that was such a gift. That was a gift.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad to hear that. Well, I think
Yeah.
I know how you're going to answer it because you've already kind of alluded to it. But when you've made those scary moves, quitting your job, moving to the United States, how do you push past that fear? I mean, you didn't really have a choice when you moved to the
Yeah.
US, but walking into your boss's office with that resignation letter, I'm
Yeah.
sure you had some second thoughts or some
I
doubts
did.
creeping in. What do you
I
do, and
did.
how do you recommend to people who might be facing a scary decision now?
Oh my God. When you realize that if you don't do it, you're going to regret it. And what's the worst that happened? You're not going to die.
Right.
The worst could happen, you fail. And we all have. I feel
Sure.
Bailey,
Yeah.
and and you have to have some sort of practice. My faith really is what allowed me to do that. And then I just want to live with regrets, you know?
Yeah.
And because if I was still at that job, I wish I wish I had played the piano, you know, when I was 10. I
Sure.
wish I stayed in the lesson. So I think my faith really, really was my anchor. And then when you go to bed at night, if you're thinking, this got, there's something else there for me, I've got
Hmm.
to do it. And you can just start small, you know, you can side hustle. Do you
Yeah.
want to open a bakery? My God, stop baking at home and sell
Yeah.
to your neighbors. You want to cut hair at home. You want to do makeup? You can do that.
Hmm.
So, and then you build that, and you don't have to do the bold move like and just quit quirky. You can side hustle if you want to, and then
Right.
try it. And you know, is this what I do? If feel like you're not, or like you're wobbling, but I didn't wobble because I knew for sure I was supposed to do that, and I just knew. And we all have that instinct. We all do. We just got to trust it more.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
I would love to hear your definition of your purpose, because we talked a bit about feeling inspired and inspired
yeah.
by, you know, a higher power. I'm curious how you define your purpose.
Wow, my purpose is to live big.
I
It's
love
very
that.
simple. Yeah, on all level, like to live in abundance and stay joyful and hopefully inspire others, because my life will reflect what I'm all about. So I don't even have to talk about it. When I go out into the world, people can feel your energy. They can see who you are by just the way you show up. So my purpose is to just to live big and abundantly, you know? And
I
just
love
spread
that.
it around. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Share
Yeah. And
it.
share it. Totally. Totally.
You mentioned earlier that part of what helped you when you were transitioning into like adding your skincare line was that mindset and reading books. I'm curious
Hmm.
what book recommendations you have. And it can be books about mindset, it could be books about skincare, it could be
Yeah.
a book to read on the beach or in quarantine when you're bored.
Yes.
Whatever
Right.
recommendations you
Right.
have.
Yes. As you can tell, I read tons of self-development books. I
Mhm.
really do. And in mindset, and I have three. The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Have you read?
I think I have that CD,
You have the
the
CD, yeah.
audiobook, yeah, or the
Yeah,
CD
he
set.
discusses like he discusses like the process of allowing in this
Mhm.
book, and just practicing what you are actually and not what you want. So he
Right.
gives all the process in that book. Book changed my life radically when I read it. I read it 10 years ago. And then The Law of Attraction, Esther Hicks. So
Okay.
if you have limiting beliefs and you think you live in lack, this
Mhm.
is the best book for you. I recommend it to everyone, everyone, everyone. And also The Science of Getting Rich, because we all want to live an abundant life. This book written in 1920 by this author called Wallace D. Otto. And it's just really talk about mindset, gratitude, living who you meet, the power with the impression of increase. So when you're tip more than 20%, you know,
Yeah.
give the valet at just $2, maybe living with five, you know, spending time with someone, leaving them with the impression of increase. Totally changed my life as well. And then Business Wise, One Thing by Gary Keller.
Okay.
He's founder of Keller Williams,
Okay.
the realty company.
Yeah.
And and this will help you overcome like the fear, the feeling of being overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And because you know, we can be busy, people are busy just to busy. So this allows you to just that productivity. So
Right.
rather than having three things you're looking at, well, how am I gonna make 100K this month? I'm just looking at one thing, Facebook
Right.
ads. I'm not
Yeah.
looking at anything else. That's
Mhm.
all I'm focusing on. So it's a way overwhelming feeling of like, oh, I got to do this. I got to go and, you know, find and do that.
Yeah.
And so I recommend that book to everyone. one thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Great
And then
recommendations.
for all the female listeners, if you want something, just be on the beach and, in a big companion, feel like a queen. There is a book by Gender V called The Audacity to Be Queen. And
Okay.
it talks about how to be a queen in your own life. It's really juicy and delicious. Love, love, love that book.
Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
intrigued. Thank you for
Yeah.
those
The Audacity
recommendations.
to Be Queen. Yeah. Very good.
All right, fantastic. I'm curious if people are listening. I know you mentioned your Instagram handle, but if they are looking for you for more, whether it's skincare or if you have personal social media you want to share, where
Yeah.
can we find you online?
All right, online, my handle. So for skincare, um, on all social media platform, it's at expert at
Okay.
Acne Expert. Um, our website is acneexpertskincare.com.
Okay.
Acneexpertskincare.com. Very simple. And on my personal IG, I'm quite engaged. It's Marie Claire underscore 90210.
Okay. Fun.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So
Awesome.
big on social media. So you'll find me there.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I've
Yes.
gotten so much great advice from you organically just in this conversation, but I always like to ask people just in case there's something on your heart, maybe a lesson that you've learned recently, or just something that you haven't said that you would like to, but the floor is open if there's any other wisdom or advice you'd like to share with us.
You know, business wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think you want to start a business,
Mm-hmm.
start an email list, start growing list now. If
Okay.
you want to be a baker and you're going to bake cookies, start growing your list now. Be engaged in social media because you're going to open the door to this bakery. Who's going to come because you didn't grow your audience?
Sure.
So if you're passionate about baking cookies, have a website where people can get in touch with you and leave their email list. I didn't do this for 4 years in my business. Can I just tell you that? Because I was like, oh, you can find me on Instagram. Who does that? I did that. And trust me, I wish I would have started 4 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest thing. So growing your list now, even though if you think you want to start now.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously mindset is big. I've talked about that.
Yeah.
And never stop seeking. Google, there's so much information. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Find someone who inspires you and follow. So let's just say we'll take the baking example. You want to be
Sure.
a baker and you know of this girl who is so popular and you're inspired by their story. Go
Mm-hmm.
follow them, get to know them,
Yeah.
ask them question on media, reply to their post.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I did it. I followed people who inspired me because sometimes we think we have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to. So
Right.
yeah, and trust your gut. It's there for a reason.
Those
We
are
have, yeah, yeah,
great advice. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
sure.
So, my last question is one of my favorites to ask. If Marie Claire at 8 years old had a crystal ball and you could
Ooh.
see the whole journey, so moving to the US, the corporate job, where you are now, and then the first year, which who knows what that is, staying home, I guess, for a while, and then if
Yes.
there's travel plans or something later that you're hopefully allowed to do. But on a scale of 1 to 11, looking at that whole journey, how excited would little Marie Claire be to see the whole thing through?
Oh my God, she'd probably be out of 50.
I love it. That might be the highest answer I've ever gotten.
she'd be out of 50. Definitely, I never saw myself getting pregnant at 16. That was scary. Like that's the scariest time of my life. Scary, scary, scary. So that part would have been out of 1. But everything else, because this journey has gotten me to where I am today. I didn't
Right.
get pregnant. I would never come to the US. I'd never been Beverly Hills. I would have never met my amazing husband. I would
Yeah.
never be here with you and having this amazing business.
Uh-huh.
So I just know that, yeah, I would have been it would have been at 50. So in the end, she makes it. She's okay. Everything
Yeah.
is fine. Yeah, everything is fine. She's doing well. She's doing well. She was like, okay, she's gonna be all right. Yeah.
I love that. That makes me happy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. I say us because you can see my foster pup
Yes.
here.
I love it.
I really loved your story and getting to know you a little bit. And I really appreciate you taking the time. And I'm sure helping so many people with their skin,
Aw.
because I believe so strongly that if you look good, you'll feel good. And then you do everything
And
else better. So
that is so good. And when you feel good, you look good, it's catch 22. Amazing. Totally.
absolutely.
Totally.
So I'm sure
Yeah.
you've changed so many lives by helping people recover from acne and feel
Oh,
good about
yes.
themselves. So thank you for doing that too.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you.
My pleasure. I hope that you found Marie Claire's story as inspiring as I did. Make sure that you check out the show notes where you'll find links to Marie Claire on social media, as well as her website if you need some acne solutions, some skincare to take care of your face and yourself during this quarantine time. Also, you can find links to the books she recommended so that you can check those out if you're looking for some shelter-in-place reading suggestions or to save for a future time. Of course, I would love it if you shared this with anyone who would find it inspiring. I'd love it if you subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And of course, positive ratings on Apple Podcasts would be extremely appreciated. I've shared this before, but my goal with the podcast is that people will hear a bit of themselves in all of these different stories and think, well, if Marie Claire can do it, I can do it too. So the more people who hear it, the more lives this can potentially change, and I can't do it without your help. So I'd really appreciate that. All right, thank you so much for listening. I hope you are safe and healthy, and as always, be bold and have a sparkly day. Bye-bye.